And we're live.
Hello.
Woo!
Welcome to 9021.
We don't know. The podcast where nothing makes sense and the points don't matter.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm Zach.
I'm Shauna. And if you haven't been here before, we break down 90210, the original, week by week with every single episode. I have never watched it before, and I watched it the night before. Zach has been a lifelong fan, and we give each other perspective.
Yeah, I've watched this completely through a couple times probably now. I'm watching it again though. It's been a while. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
We have some drinks and we have some fun.
We do have some drinks.
And we have good conversation.
And we get a little stupid.
Usually a lot stupid.
Yeah.
Everything's completely unscripted.
Completely. We're live. That we don't edit. Probably should, but we don't.
Never. Can't stop, won't stop.
No. And most of the time, we will end up on a tangent somewhere along the line that has nothing to do with the show.
Absolutely not.
Just so that you guys are aware. Okay.
I am really excited to get into this one.
Are you?
Mm-hmm. It had a lot of deep stuff. Deep stuff.
Yeah, because we kind of had the episode 9 there with the Cindy Jim thing was kind of it was away from the.
It was a reach to find something to like
bring them involved.
Yeah.
But they weren't. I don't feel like. I mean, they're main characters, but they're not main characters. Like, why are we having this episode? So this one got more back into our core group of characters.
I do have some notes.
Yeah. So it's season 1, episode 10, The Gentle Art of Listening.
Here we go. All right. So let's start with this because maybe you can answer, and I don't go back and watch old episodes for reference.
Okay.
Is this the first time that the intro has actually been like in depth with the entire cast? Because I think it is.
Oh, no, I don't think so. But I didn't pay as much attention this time.
Yeah.
So now I'm curious.
Because there's some scenes that they show.
Does it still end with Brandon with his arm around Brenda at the end, and they're looking up for I don't know why.
Into the sunset?
Well, they're in the school, so I don't know what they're doing. It's not the sunset.
Yeah, it's the sunset then.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to pay more attention. I stopped getting so hung up on the intro because I was really mad at the intro in the beginning, and I was always harping about it, so I stopped. And now you are. Yeah.
Say it. I know you want to say it.
What?
You want to say it?
What?
I want with your notes.
So we didn't have the normal intro to the school though, with the weird music.
No, it was a little bit different, but it wasn't. It wasn't that punky rocky thing that has been going on for the past few episodes.
We did not do the 90s like weird like.
Not Jimmy Eats World type punk, but like
I don't even know what you'd call it.
A mix between.
I don't even remember that music being around back. I mean, I guess it was, but it wasn't. I just don't know. I don't know. But
I don't know.
This time we end up, and there's some sort of thing going on, and it's cheerleaders.
It's grunge week.
Grunge week.
Grunge
week.
Yes.
Whoa, everybody's gonna wear flannel. No, it was Grudge Week.
I'm a Kurt Cobain fan, okay?
Which I was a little confused as what Grudge Week was. They never.
So I think it's like
I'm assuming it's like a homecoming thing.
Yeah.
Or like a rivalry of West Beverly and Beverly.
They do make a statement at some point in the show, and I don't remember exactly where, but somebody says something about they won this time, so it's our turn. So
there's some
like
sort of contest.
Games or
something. there's contests happening throughout apparently.
But I think it is. It's like a spirit week against Beverly and West Beverly.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. Although they never really showed any of the contests. So I other than like them leaving, and Steve was talking about the tug of war or something, and so I'm assuming there was some sort of contest going on.
Steve just needs to calm down a little. Yeah. Pump the brakes, kid.
Pump the brakes. David is apparently the DJ.
Yeah, it just happened. Like he's just there, and Scott's helping him.
And he's screwing it up.
Oh, Scott.
But like it was weird because they had like the tryouts and they showed David trying to like help Steve, and the next thing we know, David's just the DJ apparently. At least he didn't rap.
True that. God, that was terrible.
It was so bad.
Sorry, Brian Austin Green, but
Yeah,
if you could not do that anymore.
Yeah, don't do that, please. And Brandon appears to like one of the cheerleaders there in the beginning.
Yeah, so this is the interesting dynamic here. Brandon's watching one of the cheerleaders. They're smiling at each other, who we learn about later. And then there's another girl off in the distance, and she is coming on kind of strong, like with her signals. I mean, I wouldn't say strong, but stalkerish. Like, yes. Ooh, did you hear that?
No. Stalkerish.
Stalker.
No, but she's like, you could tell she's like probably a freshman.
Yeah.
And she's like creepily following Brandon.
Yeah. And it's at a distance, but still, nonetheless, it is stalking.
Yeah.
That is what stalking is, when you continue to go places where somebody's at and they don't necessarily want you there. Yeah. Especially when you don't talk to them.
Yeah. And I don't understand why she is with the hat that Brandon's wearing.
Oh my God.
Can we talk?
Brandon has a stupid hat.
I was like, the hat needs to go.
Oh God. And he wears it for so long.
He's got it on the whole time. It's terrible. I don't even understand where that came from. I don't know any person that wore a hat like that.
And so I don't know about you, but like when we had Spirit Week, I mean, maybe it's because we didn't really have anything better to do, but we were like into it.
Yeah.
We were into it.
I was actually thinking about this because it was funny, because I was thinking about this, and I think we were into it more our junior, probably like sophomore, junior year, whereas senior year I had just stopped caring.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, seniors stopped caring about pretty much everything at that point.
Yeah. So I think it's like so it makes sense that they're kind of into it because they're juniors, I think.
Well,
right?
Kelly and Donna aren't freaking having it. And I think,
yeah, they were totally not into it.
I think Brenda's like craving some substance in her life.
Yeah, because she makes the comment like, "I'm sick of shopping. Like, how many times can you go shopping?"
Yeah. So then, like, Brandon makes the comment to Dylan and Steve.
Yeah.
About, wow, you guys are really into this thing, and it's kind of weird because you usually aren't. And they're like, all the guys are into it because this is how you pick up younger chicks.
Yeah, it was weird.
It was kind of weird.
It was just a weird, especially for Dylan.
Yeah.
Steve, I get it.
Dylan doesn't seem to be that way
at all. But
although he could be, he definitely could be. Let's just get that one out there.
Jesus.
I see you, Dylan McKay.
Oh, yeah, that was weird. But at least Dylan was in this episode.
Yeah, where the hell has he been?
I think everybody was in this episode at one point or another.
Everybody.
Yeah. And then because I have Brenda's moody. She wants to try out for cheerleading apparently.
Yeah. So there's something that I do want to bring up. So the title of the episode is what? The Art of Listening or something. Gentle listening. What is it?
The Gentle Art of Listening.
Thank you.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So Brandon goes home. They must have gone home after school, and Brandon's talking about this girl has a major crush. He's like feeling really weirded out.
Yeah.
And Cindy's not like taking him seriously. She's like, "Oh, it's cute. It's cute." Like, "Oh, you heartbreaker, man." There's totally not even listening to what Brandon's saying.
And he's like, "She's gonna show up at our house soon
and stab me. Yeah, but it's gonna be fatal attraction. And there's gonna be a rabbit in the pot on your stove, Cindy Walsh. And what are you gonna do?"
Yeah, and then what? How funny is that gonna be?
That movie, by the way, Fatal Attraction.
It's a messed up movie.
I will make every single one of my boyfriends watch it from here on out.
Oh, Jesus.
This is why you do not cheat on your significant other. Because that person will boil a rabbit on your stove and then attack you in the bathtub.
So
don't cheat. Don't cheat.
All you guys out there, Shonda's a catch.
I wouldn't have done anything. Like, the wife isn't the one that attacks somebody. It's the mistress.
True.
That mistress you never know
point.
about. Don't cheat on your significant other.
Yeah, don't do it. It's a bad idea. Yeah.
But she also isn't listening to Brenda too, because Brenda like comes in and she's like, "Oh, it's me," and Cindy's like, "Oh, she's just being over dramatic again."
Well, and Jim's out of town.
Poo poo.
Jim's out of town, and she's like,
Why does she have to
Cindy
wait
again, not doing anything?
Yeah, why does she have to wait until your dad's gone before when she starts being over dramatic?
Exactly.
Cindy, Jim's never home anyway.
Yeah, Jim's not handling that situation even if he's around.
So stupid.
But while she's being moody, Brandon mentions that Andrea helps out at a place called the Rap Line.
Yeah, and they help
troubled teens.
Yeah, they help troubled teens. So basically, they take in calls.
Yeah,
it's like a reach out hotline.
Which I found so.
I mean, I think it's a great theory.
Yeah, and so Brenda goes and talks to Andrea about it, and Andrea's basically like telling her it's this huge commitment.
Yeah, and
Brenda's kind of like almost discouraging her.
Yeah,
like,
I don't think she takes her seriously.
I don't think she does either.
And that's part of the problem. You know, what is that saying? It's not misery loves company, but essentially, like, you are who you surround yourself with, right?
Right.
And I think that Kelly and Donna have proven themselves to be less than substantial in many cases. And so that's how a lot of people look at them. Like it's only surface.
Right.
Not,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I guess the weird part that I thought it was is that Andrea and Brenda seem to have gotten along in the past. But it kinda, but doesn't seem like Andrea really likes her very much.
Well, since that last episode, or 2 episodes ago, with the mom. And kind of seeing,
Yeah, maybe you're right. It's a good point. Because Andrea is not really happy and doesn't think she can cut it, basically. It's basically like, no, this is a really, like, serious thing.
Again, it's like a substance thing.
Yeah.
Like, how much substance can you actually have when you're hanging out with Kelly Taylor and skipping Spirit Week and going shopping all the time?
Right. And in all honesty, like, when she goes for the first day and she's in training, there's some heavy conversations going on. Like, there's some serious stuff happening.
There's so this kid calls in, like, I don't abuse drugs, but I smoke every day before I go to school.
There's drugs. Then there was the
depression and suicide, the masturbation thing.
Andrea's talking to the guy, and he's like, "Oh," and she's like, "We get a lot of calls about guys who are masturbating and get caught by their parents."
Ew. I mean,
Jesus,
whatever. It is what it is, but.
But yeah, there's some serious, like, deep conversations going on.
I don't know if I would have ever called a helpline because of that. Like, that just... Anyway.
That seemed like an odd one. Didn't need to be in that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the training seems... I mean, it does. It seems like a serious thing, and Andrea basically doesn't think Brenda is going to cut it or be serious about it because she just, like you said, doesn't seem to be very serious. And honestly, she hasn't been.
It just goes to, like, it goes even further and it proves itself. Oh, excuse me.
Wow. Wow. We're live. That shit ain't getting edited.
Yeah. Okay. So my theory goes to prove itself because then Kelly calls and she's obviously not taking Brenda. Like,
that's
continues to not take Brenda seriously. And she calls and she's like, when do I need to come and save you? Are you done being a social worker? Like, oh my God. And then Donna's mom is having a nose job, or Donna wants to have a nose job.
And then she's like getting all stressed out and blah,
ain't nobody give a shit. So
while this is happening, though, Brandon's at the Peach Pit.
Yes, this was the weirdest freaking thing to me.
Which part?
All of it. This whole storyline right here was just so effing weird. So Brandon's serving the customers, and Nat's in the back, and he's making all these really weird noises.
Honestly didn't know what was going on at first. I'm like, what is happening
And
right
then
now?
Brandon
Because I had
goes
forgotten.
back. Yeah.
Oh,
Brandon goes into the back room, and there's a young woman, very pretty, but she's giving Nat a massage, like a shoulder massage. And he says, "You're going to have to stop because you're giving our customers the wrong impression." And then they talk for a little bit, and she's explaining to him acupressure, which I thought was whatever.
yeah.
And Brandon says, "I can't." Like, she says, "You're next," and he says, "I can't. I've got customers."
Nat,
The place is packed, and Nat is.
I know.
He don't give a shit.
Brandon also seemed very smitten.
Yeah, I would.
With this girl.
She was a cute girl. I get it.
She was kind of flirting with him. He was kind of flirting back.
Well, yeah, impressions would say.
Yeah, I mean, it was just weird. But you're right. That whole storyline was odd.
Yeah, it was really weird. So
then it goes back, and Brenda and Andre are outside waiting.
Oh, I got to tell you this too.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so the part where Kelly calls and everyone's
Yes.
kind of eyeing Brenda because you're not supposed to take personal calls on this helpline because obviously somebody calls in, it's tied up because we didn't have like
cell phone.
And Brenda gets off the phone and she was like, "Oh, it was my ride. They needed the address." She never gave them an address.
She's a liar.
She never gave him an address.
Liar.
She never gave him an address. Anyway,
she lies over.
So they're standing outside and they're waiting for their ride.
Yeah.
And Andrea
still giving her crap.
Andrea is still giving her crap. Okay.
But then Andrea just like gets in a cab and leaves her there.
Yeah, bye.
And she's like,
"Bye, bitch."
She's like, "Peace."
"There's a door. Yeah.
And then like
I don't know.
And there's Brenda just sitting around waiting forever by herself because once again, Kelly has flaked out.
Dude, she sucks.
She's like the worst
Jason,
friend. She's like the worst friend ever.
I don't care how in love with you.
Wait, is Jason coming back up again in the?
Yeah, because he gave me crap last time for saying that Kelly was a bitch.
She's not a good friend.
No, she sucks.
She's a terrible friend. She left her friend sitting there in front of a rap line where
she's
by
cute.
herself in the middle of the night.
She's cute. She's blonde. She sucks.
She does suck.
I said what I said. Moving on.
Take that, Jason.
Yeah, Jason. We should play this game where we like see how many times we can use his name in a single podcast.
We just need to have him on the podcast. We need to bring Jason. Jason, you're getting on. You're coming on next week.
Guest. Well, he's got to watch the episode though.
I'll make him watch it. He'll watch it.
All right. What up? Anyway.
So then Brenda pounds on the door, goes back inside to call Kelly. Where are you?
Yeah, the janitor. And can we talk about this for a hot second?
Yeah.
It is very well known that you're not supposed to be in there.
Yeah.
And the janitor or whoever just like ushers her in. "Hey, do you want a Coke? Do you need like a little, you want anything to rest your feet on?"
Right. It was kind of weird.
"Would you like to watch a movie while you wait?" Like, just what the hell, dude?
Yeah.
Anyway.
It was weird.
So she calls Kelly, and Kelly's like, "Oh my God, but Donna's having such a crisis.
I'm leaving right now."
Well, I'm having a freaking crisis because I'm sitting here at the crisis freaking hotline, and you're not coming to pick me up.
And then she says, "Call me back." I noticed that too. Brenda's like, "Well, you need to get over here." And she's like, "I will, Donna's just having a crisis." She goes, "Fine, call me back." And I'm like, "Wait, no, just come get me." or do I need to call someone else?
Yeah, why didn't she call Cindy?
I don't know.
Why didn't she call Brandon?
I don't know.
He's got the car. Anyway.
I don't know. And she says, so then the phone rings, and so she picks it up thinking it's Kelly.
And it's Kelly.
Not Kelly. And it's
This was a very hard part for me. Because I thought a lot about it. And like personally, I don't know if I can necessarily relate to her situation, but in a way I also can. And I think
To
that
Kelly or to Brenda's?
no, the girl.
The girl, okay.
And I think that it's way too common for women, like, if it's ever a question as to whether or not, because essentially the whole conversation was, I think that I may have been raped,
Ye
was the
yeah.
the overall gist.
Yeah.
And not really knowing what it means when somebody says I love you. Like, not quite understanding.
Yeah.
He says he loves me, but I also don't think that this is accurate. And I feel like it's a all too common of an issue with women. I would say maybe 98% of the people that I know have been in a situation at some point where they have wondered, like, was this right or not? And I
Right.
think if you ever, to me, it often gets put on, well, you shouldn't have put yourself in that situation in the first place. And I don't think that as a woman, I don't think that I thought that along those lines for a very long time. But it's also a lot of what would you call it? Like guilt, I guess. Like
Mhm.
self-guilt.
Mhm.
Um but I don't think that that's the right way to think about things.
Yeah. It's
It's a
it,
fine line.
it's a confusing enough time at that age for guys who are like
Right.
for like teenage boys navigating those waters as far as like
Yes.
relationships and girls and all that fun, all that stuff. And it's got to be even harder, I feel like, which I don't know other than I had three daughters and
And I think,
it's got to be even more confusing from the
yeah,
woman's side of the house. And then on top of that, there's all these pressures and all these things and it is true. Like there's like statistics where like almost every woman at some point in time will be
admit to being
harassed
sexually
or
assaulted
sexually
or,
assaulted
yeah,
or some realm in that scenario, and it sucks.
I am to a point in my life where I don't want, like, I'm a lot more confident and I'm a lot more direct. Like, I understand that I have to be a lot more direct with people. Whereas at that age, I don't think I had built up my confidence or my directness yet.
Oh God, no.
And so for me
Yeah.
to have to tell somebody, don't touch me, or like, this isn't right, or I don't like this, stop, it would have been a lot more difficult at that age.
Oh yeah.
Now I feel like I'm more apt to say those things, but at the same time, I still find my multiple personalities. I,
I
s-
find the multiple peoples of myself.
I still find myself in situations where I feel uncomfortable and almost like it's stifling, like it silences you to a point.
Yeah.
Because not everybody is as abrupt as they need, like,
Well, no, and
and they shouldn't have to be, is the thing.
no, they shouldn't have to be. And you see it a lot and it's ridiculous. I don't understand the mindset of the man who does these things. I just don't fucking get it
Well,
because I like even as like a teenage boy who generally like you're thinking about like one thing 95% of the time, it was still like in like my mindset was still like a matter of like respect and like I actually want like I wanted to be in a relationship with the person. I wanted to like love them. It was never and I had friends and there's people who just can bounce through one night stand type stuff and I just never understood that honestly, but it's and then you have a whole nother level where it gets taken past even just the using women and making them think that you like them. Then there's the next one, which is kind of what's happening in here.
And I think that part of the issue is that it's still to this day is sexual assault is considered the act of being raped. So like, and what people consider that is like you're walking home alone at night or somebody drugs you at the bar and something happens.
Right.
That's not always the case.
Right.
It's people that you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's being taken advantage of and just being used.
Yeah.
And I think that people need to change their perspective on the way that they think about that.
Yeah, for sure.
And I am not above saying that I have not been in situations like that, because I definitely have.
And that's sad. Makes me sad because it shouldn't be that way. I think it goes back to, again, what we've talked about before. Just be kind.
Be kind.
Be kind to everyone.
Yeah. Male, female, whatever.
And this is where the episode got really deep, because they, this was a serious thing, and it does happen.
Yes.
And it's
it's still,
there's a reason why this is a narrative in this episode, because it's common enough where it happens all the time.
And if you think about like the time that this episode aired to now, like it's still an issue.
Oh yeah, like this was well before the Me Too movement and all that stuff. This was way before, social media even. So like, now it's like, it's a lot different, and it's, I think, at least, I mean, not to say that it's changed necessarily, which is still sad, but the fact that it's easier to get your story out there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Back then, that wasn't really the case.
You had to call a helpline.
You had to call a helpline where they literally had phones with like cords attached to them still, and they're like, "Hey, how's it going?" Like those phones don't even exist anymore. It's like, but
unless you go to the antique shop.
Yeah. Have you ever worked a helpline?
I have not. Have you?
I have not either.
I have not.
I always kind of wanted to for some reason, but I don't know. I don't even remember if there was ever a time where I had an opportunity to do it. Like if there was actual helpline.
Well, again, it's one of those things where the access is there now, whereas it wasn't really there before, where you would have literally had to sit
at a phone
yeah booth. Yeah, like not Jerry Lee Lewis.
That's a different thing. That's a Delathon.
Gosh. And I don't even think it was Jerry Lee Lewis. No.
Yeah, it was Jerry Lewis.
It was Jerry Lewis, not Jerry Lee Lewis, the singer who married his cousin.
No.
Okay.
Anyway.
Moving on.
So
commence.
So Brenda, see, tangents. Brenda answers the phone and is way over her head right off the bat.
Yeah, she's like,
the fuck? She's like, shit, what do I do? And then Kelly gets there, and Brenda's obviously upset. And I thought the weird thing too was that Kelly just showed up and walked inside, apparently. So she must have banged on the door and got the same janitor, but they're both inside now. And Brenda's upset, and she's saying that that girl deserved someone on the phone who knew what they were doing.
Yeah, and Kelly's just kind of like,
yeah, whatever.
I will say she took it more seriously than, I don't like this shirt. I will say
you're never gonna wear that shirt again, are you?
No, the camera adds 10 pounds too. Anyway, I promise it's just
it's like a weird shirt.
Anyway, this is probably one of the times where I've seen Kelly actually take something seriously and maybe be a decent human being and listen to her friend.
Yeah,
listened to her friend for once, in the love of God.
Yeah, she kind of did. She
drives me freaking nuts.
And then Brenda says something that I thought was interesting. She thought she recognized the voice.
And they're like, who was it? Okay, well, first of all, Kelly, We don't need to ask that question. Like, it's none of your business.
Obviously, she didn't know who it was, or she would have said, I knew who it was.
That's the other thing. Can we talk about people minding their business for a hot second?
Mind your business.
Mind yourself. And I'm not saying don't help people. That's not what I'm saying. But boundaries, people. Freaking boundaries.
And this is where I kind of had an issue sort of with the episode. That it's supposed to be an anonymous helpline.
Yeah, and then Kelly says, Brenda says, what's your name?
Yeah, which I think was just her being not understanding, like,
the rules
or just not. I mean, it was the first time she'd ever answered a call. She really had only been trained for like one night. She was over her head. But at the same time, like, the whole episode continues to go on, and I'm like, you're breaking down the entire integrity of this help center that is supposed to be anonymous, where we just help people and move on. You can't, like, she's like personally trying to inject herself into this, which I don't know. So then we cut to Cindy, who is finally doing something. She's working at the recycling center.
Yes, and she says that she was inspired because of Brenda.
Yeah.
And the entire time, like, I think Brenda wants to say, Mom, I don't want to do this anymore because I'm feeling overwhelmed. And
she
like,
seemed very
I may or may not have just ruined somebody's life.
I think she wanted to quit after that one.
She did,
that
definitely.
one day.
Yeah.
But then now she had Andrea, who already thought she was going to quit. Her mom is now like, "Oh, I'm so proud of you."
She's like, "Shit, I can't quit now."
And she's like, "I'm stuck now."
Yeah.
Why do I have that? I feel like that's not the case.
What?
Brandon is gonna get a massage from the older chick.
Yeah.
Nina.
Yeah, they had talked about it.
Yeah. Oh, so I think they're at the Peach Pit talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're having a conversation.
She
had
just gotten out of her sensory deprivation tank.
Have you ever done that, by the way?
No, but I would like to.
It's awesome.
I would love that. I feel like my ADHD would like totally.
It is the most bizarre thing. I need to go do it again. I've done it a few times. I absolutely love it. COVID kind of killed that. I need to go back and do it again. It's fucking great for my anxiety and shit. But like when the first time I did it, it's so bizarre because you're literally weightless in this thing and it's dark. I couldn't do it pitch black. The second or third time I did it, I went pitch black for a while. Didn't like it. Because pitch black then you get really weird. But like I did it they have like lights and music. And I was literally like, I got to a point, and I did it for like an hour, and I got to a point where when I breathed in, I felt myself floating up in the air out of the tank. Like I was floating into the air, and then when I would exhale, I'd float back down into the tank. It was creepy. I had to like, and I had to literally like, when that started happening, it kind of freaked me out, and I had to sit up for a second, open the pod, and get my bearings again, and then close it and lay back down again because I was like, it got weird, but it was really cool. You should try it.
I should try it.
It's interesting.
That would be.
There's one in Okemos. Yeah. I think it's creative wellness. Shit, I can't remember. Creative wellness. That might not be the right one. But anyway,
they do stuff, and you got the tanks.
But it's cool. The tanks are cool. I need to go back and do that again. I wish I could do it more often. They run specials. It's usually like $60 or something for like an hour, I think. But it's weird. It's interesting. It's very interesting.
Tanks.
Float tanks.
Tanks.
So yeah. So they're talking about that, and that's. And Nat tells Brandon that Nina's a little wild.
Yeah.
She used to work at the Peach Pit, apparently.
Yes.
Which spikes Brandon's curiosity even more, I feel like.
I think it does as well.
Yeah.
I think Brandon's looking to cut loose every now and then.
He kind of is, and this for sure in this one. And Nina tells Brandon that she wants him to come to her place so she can test out her techniques. She wants to practice on Brandon. And Brandon's like, I'm game. Why not? And I'm not going to lie. As a 16, 17-year-old high school kid, I probably would have been into. I would have been like,
she's a cute girl.
I would have been like, yep.
She's a cute girl.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Back to the actual part. So they go back. We're back at the hotline, and the girl calls back, and Brenda is busted because the girl says,
Well, here's the thing that I had the problem with was that she tried to talk to Andrea. She tried to explain to her what had happened, and Andrea's like, "Oh, but you don't have to tell me anything. I know you want to quit already." Yeah. And that,
she did blow her off.
Is the most infuriating thing in movies and TV shows for me. Is when somebody's trying to explain something. When somebody's trying to explain something.
Maxie boy.
And then nobody will listen. And it's like, well, if you just shut your mouth and stop making assumptions.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll learn. Oh, look.
Oh, get in here, buddy. Hey.
Oh, no, he's like, I don't want to.
Yeah,
not today.
Making the assumptions that she can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it just ruined. Like this again goes back to the gentle art of listening.
The gentle art of listening. Yeah, I mean, it comes up multiple times.
Shut your mouth. Speak less. Hear more.
Yeah. Don't assume. Don't judge a book by its cover. We've talked about this before. So many lessons. And so anyway, the girl calls back, and it's happened again. She says and I think this time she actually says she was raped again.
I think she does.
Yes. I think she's now to the realization that this is happening.
Yep.
And she knows what to call it. And
so here is the thing, right? This is what everyone needs to understand about that term. If you don't say yes, and it happens, that's what we're going with.
Mm-hmm.
That is rape. If you do not say yes and it happens,
yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're drunk. It doesn't matter if you're high. It doesn't matter if you're 16. It doesn't matter if you're 32. If you do not say yes and it happens anyway. So men,
be better. Jesus
Make
Christ.
Sure that they're saying yes. They are literally saying yes. I want this to happen.
And like, this isn't fucking rocket science. Like, there's no gray areas. If you feel like you're in a gray area, I feel like you know the answer already.
If they are saying no, it is definitely.
That's obvious. Yes, for sure. Like, come on.
If they don't say yes, it is a no. If they say no, it is a no. If they say yes, it is a yes.
Yeah.
And then it makes it easy for everybody. Everybody's on the same page. It's like making rules in the classroom. Like that way we're all on the same page. We all have to follow the same rules. It just is what it is.
Yeah. It's just not that hard. Guys, come on.
And I will add this too, because I feel like I'm not going to say that there are not women out there who abuse that. I will say that there probably are women out there who abuse that line.
That's the unfortunate part, is there are times where that's thrown around to get back.
So again, somebody. This is something that also protects you as men and women. It protects women, but it also protects you as men. If they don't say yes, it's a no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah. The next day at school. Oh, and this is where I think the girl mentions something on the call that suggests that she goes to either Beverly or West Beverly. Because I think it's like, because Brenda doesn't Brenda say, like, it sounds like she's like a part of Grudge Week.
She had kind of, yeah.
Because Brenda
calls her out.
Yeah, Brenda says, do you go to West Beverly? And then she hangs up.
She hangs up because she's like, I don't want anyone to know who I am, you idiot. You moron, Brenda. Obviously. But she hasn't had like very good training.
No, she really hasn't. She's winging it at this point.
Ooh. Right down the esophagus.
Like, I don't think at any point Brenda is trying to screw this up. I think she's
really legitimately trying to help.
Yeah, she's legitimately trying to help.
By the way, I kind of battled laryngitis and bronchitis here. I'm still not 110% back to where I was. So if I sound weird.
It's been a week again. And last week wasn't a week. Yeah. And we said it's nice out finally here, and we were all sitting out on the deck, and my allergies have kicked in again.
Oh God.
Wish it would fucking stop.
Yeah, no kidding.
That could go away. So Brandon's making plans to spend the night with Nina. Like, he thinks this is going down.
Again, Brandon.
And he's talking to Dylan about what it's like being with an older girl, and like that was the most awkward conversation. And even Dylan was like, "What are we talking about here?"
Yeah, Dylan.
It was just so funny because Brandon asked. I think what did Brandon ask? He said, "When you wake up in the morning next to her, what do you say?" And Dylan's like, "Would you like some coffee?" Which I thought was funny because I'm like, I didn't drink coffee in high school. I don't know
Dylan
anybody that drank coffee.
He's a horse of a different color because he is in high school, but he's also an adult.
He's been
taking care of himself for a very long time.
Yes, he's definitely like.
So he's still got the kid mentality.
Did you drink coffee in high school?
It's a funny story. So I actually, no, I don't. I mean, yes, here and there, but I wouldn't say I did it like every morning.
I think our kids did, but I think it was more because it was like the Starbucks Big B, like
oh yeah,
it was cool to go. It was like cool to go get like your frappuccino or whatever, but I just never had that. But I never drank coffee. I didn't drink coffee until I think when I started drinking coffee when I was in the Army because I was tired of shit and we were out in the field and it was cold. And
you want a hot cup
I was
coffee?
like, just give me anything that's warm, and it would wake you up. And at that point, I would put creamer and sugar and all kinds of shit in it. Now I just drink it black, but I just thought it was funny that came up. Just another tangent. So Brenda. So it keeps panning back and forth. So Brenda is waiting at the call center for the girl to call back. Brandon's at the Peach Pit waiting for Nina to show up, and he's got too much cologne on, and it's just hilarious.
It's a mess. It's a mess. Everywhere.
It is just everything's a mess right now. Brandon gets to Nina's and meets Richard,
her boyfriend.
Who seem to be very much together.
Very much so.
And you can see Brandon immediately knows
this was my bad.
He will not be waking up in the morning next to her having coffee.
Yes.
Unless Richard's next to him as well.
And I don't think.
Which, thank God, Brandon, just be glad it didn't go that route.
Yeah.
And then you had to try to finagle that scenario.
Ooh, awkward.
Yeah. So then they wait. Brenda waits. No call. They close down the hotline. They're outside. The lady that runs the hotline leaves. They're standing there, and Brenda's like, she's gonna call. She always calls like at this point, and so she somehow talks Andrea to go back in. And she calls.
Brenda ain't no dummy.
No, she's not.
She is a dummy, but she's also not a dummy.
And I again wrote, she is so over her head.
Again. But there's a reason why they keep letting her answer the phone, and it's because that's who she bonded with first.
Yeah, she made that relationship with her, and so she's like the one now.
She doesn't want to give up on her and like make it seem.
Yeah.
And that's who the girl feels comfortable with.
Yeah, and at this point,
nameless girl.
Now Brenda knows who it is, or at least thinks she does. And she goes to school the next day.
And goes up to her.
And confronts her. And it turns out to be the cheerleader that Brandon was smiling at in the beginning.
And
her name's Bonnie.
Bonnie is super sweet.
And Bonnie freaks out
because she doesn't want anyone to know. She thinks Brenda's gonna like.
Yeah, and she even tells Brenda, "You're just jealous," but it was just her freaking out. And then Andrea talks to Brenda about it, and she kind of says like it's their job to just listen
Not get
and
involved.
yeah, and walk away at the end of it, you know. And then we pan to Grudge Week's ending again, and now here's Bonnie at the school, super late. I like I didn't understand this.
Very late.
Like why are like there was literally nobody else there but her, another girl, and those two guys. And then her friend leaves with the two guys. Ladies, don't leave your friends by themselves like that. Fuck.
Yeah, I know.
When my girls would go on when they go on
Anywhere.
any trip, when they were in college, when they're adults, and anytime they go out anywhere to have drinks or party or whatever, I'm like, don't leave anybody behind.
Unless, I will say this, unless that friend is putting you in a situation where you feel compromised by like yourself.
Yes, that's true.
And then get out.
Very true. Very true. But like seriously, like just fuck, don't leave your friends sitting behind. So then she leaves her by herself. She walks out the parking lot, and that's when we find out who the two guys are, which we've met in the episode. They're the typical football jock guys.
Kind of can do whatever I want when I want type of
At least
people.
they seem like it, yeah. And like they're terrible.
They suck.
They suck
They're
bad.
mean.
They're
abusive.
Yeah, this wasn't even a case of like I'm dating you and I I love you so you'll do this for me type of thing. No, this was like straight up just
Abuse.
assholes.
Abuse.
Yeah, they're rapers. And then the entire police force jumps out from the bushes.
Like what?
I'm
very confused about that. Still.
Well, it was super weird because honestly, I mean, because like at that point, other than hopefully they heard what they said, but nothing had actually happened at that point, thank God. But like, it was just weird that all these people jumped out of nowhere and cop cars started rushing up. But it does turn out that Brenda had a little intuition, and she knew that this is when the phone calls always tended to happen at this particular time, which would be at the end of the Grudge Week stuff, and so she set it all up,
and she did a good job.
She did do a good job.
She did, and we'll give her that.
Yeah, I think she did a good job. So in the end, that girl might still be mad at Brenda, but at least she's
safe.
Which sometimes that's better.
Absolutely.
Actually, most times that's better. Sorry.
100% of the time that's better.
Yeah. Yeah, like don't worry about whether or not they're going to be mad at you. Safety's way more important. Yeah. So in that instance, I think Brenda did a good job.
In that case, it's okay to not mind your business.
Yeah, man. You got to do that. Especially when people are getting hurt. Step in. Do something.
Absolutely.
And then it ends with Brandon introduces himself to his crush stalker girl, yeah. And her name's Lucy,
and she seems very sweet, and she looks like, what did I say she looks like? She looks like
Soleil Moon Frye. Yeah, she looks like Punky Brewster a little bit, kind of
knockoff version of Soleil Moon Frye.
Kind of did actually, yeah. Man, it was a deep episode.
It was. There was a lot to get into.
There was a lot going on there. Yeah.
I'm not really. Yeah. It was interesting to think about, like, because I watch them and I try to figure out like how they relate or how I can relate, and it was a lot of depth there.
Yeah, and I always wonder too, like a show like that, Do you think it helps? Do you think it helps people a little bit maybe? Like if you're in high school and you're that girl and you're watching the show and you're like,
I think it depends on who you are, but I also think, like for me, no, I don't think that they helped. I'm not gonna say like
yeah,
there were never any shows out there that tried to reach out in that way,
right.
but as you get older and you're able to be a little bit more mature about things and responsive, I guess,
Yeah.
then you can look back and you're like, wow, actually that does seem pretty legitimate.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when you're that age, because I think she was what, a sophomore? I think Bonnie was a sophomore, right?
Shoot, yeah.
And yeah, you're just not. You're you're still pretty young at that point. I mean, I know when I was. I mean, fuck, I was fucking stupid until I was like 25, probably.
Yeah, no
Like,
shit. I mean, God,
not.
I was like
I'm
30,
I'm
so
not sure I'm smart now.
I know.
But it's like
Well, I
you
think
just
that's honestly the true test of wisdom is do you believe that you're intelligent?
yeah
Like now I'm not saying like don't call yourself stupid. No, don't ever
yeah
do that, but
yeah.
just having that understanding that you don't know everything also
Well,
makes somebody way more intelligent.
that's the thing is to know like when you're that age, you tend to think you're like
You know everything.
nothing can happen to me. I know everything.
There's so many
Um,
times that I look back on at that stage of my life and I'm like, I should have died.
right. Yeah, there's so many times where I'm like, how did I fucking survive? Like, how did I even survive that time period? Because like I probably shouldn't have a number of times. Like there's a very questionable times where I was like horrible decisions, but you don't think about that then, and you don't have the life experience. You know, and I think it's almost like you have to have enough of those times at some point to realize like, okay,
Yeah, and
like
I had a
I
lot
can't
of them, a
I
lot.
I can't keep doing this because I'm just rolling the dice way too much right now. And so I think it's like one of those things where you don't know what you don't know at that point, and you just think you're invincible and nothing's going to happen. And then throw the confusing part of, are girls going to like me? Are, the fucking hormones and everything going crazy when you're in just that age? It's fucking nuts. And people are stupid.
People are stupid. I was stupid. Oh, I'm so dumb.
Everybody was stupid. But good. It was a good episode.
It was a good episode.
I think it was.
Lots of at least, you know what it at least does is it opens it up for conversation.
Yeah.
Between parents, between friends, whatever.
Yeah.
So, like here with us, hey, how do you feel about this? Like, did this ever happen? Or
hmm Yeah. I mean, it really does, and hopefully, like, hopefully, like, I mean, I know this show isn't on anymore, but that's still a conversation. Unfortunately, it's probably still coming up in popular shows now. I would imagine, unfortunately. So yeah, deeper episode. Good stuff though. We got to see a lot of the characters this time. We even had a little interaction with Donna, Dylan, Scott was a little Steve. David seems to be
Dave.
He's climbing the ladder, I think, of success in his freshman year. Yeah. So
I think he's finally getting his notoriety.
Yeah.
Why am I yawning?
I was yawning a lot too. Sorry.
Ugh.
Anyway, so with that,
that was a terrible. Look at that face. Ugh.
That was episode 10. The art. What was it? The gentle art of listening. And so yeah, we're gonna call it quits, and we'll be back next Friday for episode 11.
Will be episode 11 of
9021. We don't know. We got it. I think we finally got it. And we're under an hour.